if you want to really learn and if you want to implement improvement, you need to be committed to the work, because it's hard. If I'm going to change my practice, it's going to take some time. If I'm going to implement a change idea, for me to implement it effectively and for students to really understand what is expected of them, it's going to take time. And you will not see the results right away. So when we started thinking about the change idea and you were a part of our thinking process, we were thinking about having our long-term MLLs, like just thinking about what is it that's preventing them from exiting the program, how do we get them redesignated, and the conversation came around, they can talk fine, and at most of the time, like me or the other teachers, we won't know that they are long-term MLLs. So what was this one step which was needed to give them that extra push to move on to the next level? And that's where we thought, like, oh, they're getting stuck in these words, like vocabulary words, which are maybe a little hard, maybe a little more complex. That's where we came up with the juicy sentence. So the basic idea is we look at the task, we sit down, we go through it, and then we see what is that one sentence which is like the real meat of the problem. So if students did not understand what this said, would they be successful at making sense of the math problem? And that's where we started thinking about this change idea of starting to incorporate juicy sentences by drawing their attention to this one sentence. All the teachers in my design team are from a different country. Like they are all from, I have a teacher from South Africa, I'm from India, I have a teacher from Spain, I have a teacher from Venezuela. So that is something unique, and they all bring those unique perspectives. They are all coming from an English language learner background, so they sort of connect to the kids and what their needs are. And when we are implementing change ideas, there's a lot of conversation around, but let's put ourselves in those shoes and then think about it. You know, I have a collaborative team. I know they've got my back. We're talking about what worked for you, what didn't work for you. So how do we synthesize that learning? As an individual, I sometimes get consumed by my own classroom, but when we meet as a team, we are looking at the impact of that change idea across classrooms and across content. And that's where the learning comes in. So just having or relying on those team members, everybody to be doing their part and making sure that as a leader or as a coach, I'm sending them those reminders like, hey, we need to do this, or this is coming up, to keep everybody on track. We are implementing it, we're seeing a lot of success, and the last conversation we had was, how do we measure if it's actually making an impact? So we're going to start looking at how can we collect data around that particular aspect. Can kids identify a juicy sentence, and can they make sense, and how does their graph look like, or how does their work look like if they are going through this particular strategy? For a long time, I thought math was a universal language, right? So if I'm teaching math, everybody understands numbers. But now I see that language is just not for communication, but it's also a part of critical thinking. If I can think about something in my head, but I do not have the words to explain to somebody what I'm thinking, and it could be in words or in written format, then that is a disservice we are doing, especially to our students, especially to our MLL students, because they know what they want to say, but they don't have the words. So I feel like I've come to the point every time somebody would tell me all teachers are language teachers. So I'm a proponent, yes. You have to teach them language, no matter what is the content. I think my ultimate hope is when I give them a text, a longer text or something, they would be able to read and they would be able to highlight a sentence which they think is going to be critical for their understanding of the problem and making connection to the math. If they can do it without me asking them to, I think that would be a win. This classroom is what I control, and if I can start with a small change idea and just work on improving something at a small scale, and if it does prove successful, I can take it to other teachers and sell them this idea. But just having this network, having this group, this space to really brainstorm and think about ideas which can really provide equity and equitable access to all our kids to success at academics and at life, I think it's been awesome.